So I'm going to break down a large pressure washing job that was done quite a while ago, but hopefully this will be helpful to companies to see what you might need to account for on a job and some things to think about. So on this project we'd got 3 companies. It took us 12 hours and we still wasn't finished. And we got 2 pressure washers, and I'll cover why there wasn't a third in the issues later. But we'd got one that was fixed or van mounted, and then mine is portable. Now both are working at 3000 psi and 21 litres a minute. And mine being portable was really helpful because the back lower patio, the van mounted pressure washer, wasn't able to reach that far. When it came to the driveway, we used turbo nozzle, surface cleaner, and then a wide jet for the final rinse off and clear up. So let's talk about our chemical application while you watch my unhealthy obsession of B-roll videos of slow motion chemical sprays. So we used sodium hypochlorite, which is pretty standard in the industry, otherwise known as hypo. And we were using these foam cannon attachments which work really well, but they limit you on the dosage that you can use. Now that didn't matter for this job because we were here for so long, but now I tend to use the HypoJet 2 because it gives me more control over my dilution rate and I can use stronger dilutions. And I also now use a chemical rated mask due to the stronger dilution rates. Now in this pressure washing job, it was a lower dilution and we were outside where it's well ventilated, so there isn't that same need, but I do now tend to have a chemical rated mask. Now you'll see that this is mixed with surfactant, which is what is foaming up, and it almost thickens that hypo so it sticks to surfaces while it works to kill the black spot and other organic growth or staining, but it should always be handled with care as it can be a dangerous chemical. So let's talk about the issues that we had on this job. And when you see videos showcasing work, it always looks really rosy, but behind the scenes there's a lot of things that can go wrong and that may need accounting for as a business if you're planning jobs like this. Now first of all, the company that was arranging this job, they couldn't use their pressure washer because they actually share that with another company. I thought that was quite a clever idea as a company with a lot of window cleaning work that doesn't get to do a lot of pressure washing, because it means that they could share the costs with another company. But on this occasion, I can't remember now, but it was either broke or it was double booked. Now things breaking can happen to any company, but something not being free is something that could be an issue if you either share or rent equipment. So that meant that we were down to 2 pressure washers. There was still plenty to do as 3 people, but we just weren't as efficient as we could have been. The second problem is that we started with 3 turbo nozzles but ended up with 1. My lance and turbo nozzle developed leaks on this job, so we got that sorted pretty quick, but in changing the O-ring on the nozzle, it increased the pressure, which seemed to break the nozzle after about 15 minutes after fixing it. Now the other turbo nozzle went on the third problem, because this was to do with the other half of the driveway having really bad drainage. So what happened was one of the other companies tried to unblock that drain by jetting down using the turbo nozzle, except that ended up popping the turbo nozzle off and they couldn't retrieve it. So that left us with 1 turbo nozzle, which we really needed for the driveway. So I went to the patio to use the surface cleaner because it was Indian sandstone, that's all it needed, and it came up really beautiful, but it meant that I had something to do. I could go move onto the patio, I didn't need a turbo nozzle for that. Now the fourth problem was that there was an unusual spot in the driveway with these different blocks that had a soft jointing in between them, and it filled quite large gaps between them. So when we were trying to clean the blocks, it was blasting out that jointing, which created a lot of movement in the blocks. So we didn't want that, so we had to be careful in cleaning the blocks, trying to remove them without then blasting out that jointing. So this took a different nozzle, it took more time to be able to do this. Again, something that was unexpected and unaccounted for that we had to adapt to as we went. So now for the results. In the end, the results were amazing. The customer was very happy. We were really tired, but it was a very diverse job that I really enjoyed. And I hope this was a helpful breakdown to you, so that there might be something that you can apply to your work or business. And as I will always say, please leave your suggestions, so there might be something that I'm able to test or apply in my work to improve it or to make it more efficient in some way. I always sound so serious in these videos, but we do actually have a lot of fun on these projects, as I'll show you now.
Work it, James!